Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhang dhammang sanghang namasami. So it is the last new moon for this calendar year. Kind of ending because only one more half moon left. So this is the last opposite day for us in this year. So it's time to give a short reflection. Been asked to do that. So my mind is about thinking about Sri Lanka these days. So I thought I'll share something of my upbringing. I was born in Sri Lanka, so I was born into a Buddhist family, and growing up as a child, we do have pujas. I mean, the families do have pujas, Buddhist families. So my father did it by himself, and then my mother, with my sister and myself, we used to have this puja, and it's according to Buddha's teachings, there are 3 cardinal suttas that lay people are supposed to follow. That is the Karaniya Metta Sutta, the Mangala Sutta. That's Karaniya Metta Sutta is the Buddha's words on loving kindness. The Mangala Sutta is the highest blessings. And then the third one is the Ratana Sutta, the Jewel Sutta. And we do chant it in here, but we do the abridged version because the Ratana Sutta has about 14 verses. We do only half of it. I don't know, about 6 verses. That's what we chant here when we do Paritta chanting. So, I mean, how I learned these things was my mother, my dear mother. I really have a lot of gratitude arising in my mind for my parents when I think of my upbringing, really. And I felt like she prepared me for my monastic life, in a sense. Because she used to chant these suttas every day when we have the puja. So I could follow my mother. Whenever she chanted, I don't know, I just listened to her and I followed her. But without her, I couldn't. On my own, I couldn't chant as a child. But if she's chanting, I just follow her and sit next to her and follow her. And even my grandmother did pujas. She did on her own. And and I really felt some affiliation to this Ratana Sutta. And so I chanted along with my mother. And then, of course, I grew up. But we do hear it in Sri Lanka a lot. These 3 suttas are because in every Paritta chanting, these 3 suttas are chanted. So it's very familiar. But anyway, I felt a lot of affiliation to the Ratana Sutta. So when I came to the monastery, I realized, yes, we do chant it, but we chant half of it. It took a while for me to realize, it's this Ratana Sutta that we are chanting. But it's a different, version. So I decided when I was in Sri Lanka during COVID time, I was in Sri Lanka. So, And that time it was chanted a lot. So I decided to go learn it again, the full version. And I'm so glad. So I found it very helpful. I don't know, I'll just share how I kind of use it. And the full one, that is. And in the commentary, it says that the Ratana Sutta was chanted to when there was a kind of a calamity in Vaisali. Maybe it happened, but it's also considered that this Ratana Sutta can be used to protect our minds, because it's the jewel, the three jewels, the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha. So taking refuge in Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, because it's a true refuge, Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. And this Ratana Sutta can be used in such a way that we can protect our minds. And how I have heard one Sri Lankan teacher is using this sutta is how this sutta can be used to protect the mind, that is, protect the mind from entering defilements, and also uplift the mind. So it goes, the Ratana Sutta starts when Buddha starts expounding it by saying, so when he was chanting, when he was expounding this sutta, I think there were beings from other worlds, celestial beings were also gathered for that at that time. So he starts by saying, please develop loving kindness. That's how he starts the sutta. Develop loving kindness for all beings, because everybody's looking after each other. So develop loving kindness. That's how it starts. Yeah. And then it goes to the first verse, which is that's how we start with that saying, yang kinchi vittang idavahuranga. So the first verse goes into saying that the Tathagata, there is no jewel comparable to Tathagata. So how this we can use it to go take refuge in Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha is a Tathagata comes to this world. I mean, there are many teachers, so we have learned a lot of crafts, a lot of skills through teachers, and they're helpful, they're very useful. That's how we live a good life, because we have learned these skills and crafts, and we can have a good life, make a good living out of learning these skills. But a Tathagata has to come to this world to take us out of samsara. All these skills and everything we do is bounding us to samsara. But only a Tathagata comes to this world and he expounds the Four Noble Truths. And that's the only thing that take the beings out of samsara. So it's a great being, isn't it? He's the only teacher who teaches us that. I know our parents, our dear parents, that's what we are. I mean, I'm thankful to them, but they can't teach us that. Of course, my parents brought up me very well. I'm still grateful, but they never asked me to follow in that way. Just get out of samsara, follow the Eightfold Path and get out of samsara. It wasn't explained in that way. It's only Tathagata who explained it in that way. So, in that sense, he is the greatest teacher. So that's what the first verse says. Now, this greatest being whom we have encountered now, of course, Buddha is not living at the moment, but we have encountered a greatest being in our lives, indirectly or whatever. But what is this teacher is using this sutta is for, now we have this aging vehicle, the mind vehicle, the mind and body. This is an aging vehicle. So we respectfully invite Buddha, the Tathagata, into this mind vehicle. And that's how we start this journey to take refuge in Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. And the vehicle has seats. So that means passengers can travel in this vehicle. And we know how much people we carry in our minds, isn't it? After a meeting, after every encounter, after every experience, we carry it around. We carry people around in our mind. So the advice is invite the Buddha, the Tathagata, into this mind vehicle. So why do we invite the Tathagata into this mind vehicle? Well, when we have somebody whom we respect and whom we revere, we behave in a different way. I mean, when in school also the same, isn't it? When the teacher is around, we behave well. When the teacher is not there, we become very naughty. So in the same way, having this vehicle, having Buddha, a Tathagata, in this mind vehicle, keep us straight and narrow, yeah, because we tend to, we know that there's somebody very important, somebody very respectful, somebody whom we revere is in the vehicle. So we will try to follow Buddha's instructions when the Tathagata is in the mind vehicle. So what's the instruction given by Buddha? It's for Nibbana, isn't it? Buddha's teachings are for, that all the teachings are pointing into one direction, that's Nibbana. So we are asked to follow the guidance, or the guidance given by Buddha is for Nibbana. And it's destruction of all craving, destruction of overcoming greed, hatred, and illusion, and experiencing the calmness of the mind, the peace of the mind, without defilements, without greed, hatred, and illusion. So the Buddha has entered this. We have invited the Buddha into the vehicle, and there is this destination. We have been given this destination. It's not a place or we are not going anywhere, but it's a kind of we are defined what the destination is. We are defined where we are heading with Buddha in our mind vehicle. So we are working towards Nibbana. All the guidance given is to work towards Nibbana. So that's what this Ratana Sutta is saying, that one of the few verses. And there's another verse about, so to drive this vehicle, we need concentration. Yes, without concentration, we will be not driving a vehicle at all. To drive a car, we have to have some kind of concentration. So there's this concentration, how it's explained, the concentration one can achieve following Buddha's teachings, because it's concentration without any interval. That's how it's explained. And that is, we have a lot of vitaka vichara, the mind constantly going to one object, from one object to another. That's the nature of the mind. We see one thing, then we see something else, then the mind goes to this and that and everything. But a concentrated mind has a kind of a uniformity. It is like thinking of something and being able to concentrate on one object for a long time, then then there's continuity in the concentration. And Buddha's teachings help us to achieve this kind of concentration. The mind concentrating on an object, it could be a Dhamma aspect, thinking of the Four Noble Truths or the 32 parts of the body. So if we have these, because we have this reflective and contemplative capacity, so if we use this reflective capacity, the mind can be concentrated. So that's how we get concentrated to drive this vehicle towards Nibbana. And so this is the first, so then the Buddha's quality was, you start the Ratana Sutta by, it's a kind of an asseveration, because at the end of each stanza in that sutta, it says, etena satya suati hotu. That is, it's a kind of asseveration. By the power of this truth, may there be well-being. That is, so first we think of the Buddha, who is the greatest being, whom we have respectfully invited into our mind vehicle. So with this truth, may there be well-being. And the second one is about the Dhamma, which is how one can, the destination is Nibbana, by destruction of all cravings. So by the power of this truth, may there be well-being. That's the quality of the Dhamma. And also, the other verse is also about the quality of the Dhamma, which is about how one can concentrate the mind. So that verse also describes the quality of the Dhamma, and by the power of this truth, may there be well-being. So from that point onwards, it's about the sangha. All the other verses are the verses Buddha expounded are highlighting the qualities of the sangha. So that's the noble sangha, the Arya sangha. And so now we have invited the Buddha into the mind vehicle, the Dhamma into the mind vehicle. And now the noble sangha, the Arya sangha, can be invited into the mind vehicle. That is, this 4 pairs of noble beings. That is, we have these 4 stages to Nibbana. That is, stream enterer, once returner, non-returner, and the Arahant. So for each of these stages, there's the path and the fruit. So in that way, there are 2 for each level of enlightenment stages. So there are 4 pairs in each level of enlightenment. So there are 8 altogether. So we can invite these noble beings, because there are these noble beings in this world. So we can invite these noble beings into the mind vehicle as well. So this is how we can take refuge in Buddha Dhamma Sangha. It's a true refuge. And we consider this mind as a vehicle, and we have invited them. So naturally, when they are invited into this mind vehicle, we will act in a cautious way, and we will try to follow the guidance of the teachings, knowing that we have something very valuable in the vehicle now. So, and in that Ratana Sutta, there are many qualities of the Sangha that we explained in the Sutta. And the Sangha, the noble Sangha, whatever that we offer to the noble Sangha, they are worthy of offerings, worthy of salutation and worthy of hospitality, and then it gives great fruit if we do make these offerings to the noble sangha. And also it also says that this peace and calmness, through meditation we can all experience it, isn't it? The calmness of the mind, the if we follow the Buddha's teachings and through meditation, and it's obtained free of charge. We don't have to pay anything to get it because it's within us. Nibbana is within us, and we can obtain it free of charge. We don't have to pay anything. And that's it's the truth, isn't it? So reflecting on this truth, the mind gets uplifted. So that's what the asseveration is. By the power of this truth, may there be well-being. And it goes further into how that one who has great faith in Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha, Buddha and Dhamma, in that verse it says, it's like a pole stuck firmly on the ground is not disturbed by the wind. A firmly stuck pole on the ground is not getting swayed with the wind. So in the same way, one who has established this mind, whose mind is firmly established in Buddha and Dhamma, the teachings, they don't shake. They have this unshakable deliverance. Their faith is unshakable. And that's a truth. So by the power of this truth, may there be well-being. And it also goes to say the qualities of a stream enterer. That is the quality of a stream enterer. Is that a stream enterer has unshakable faith in Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha, and has followed the Dhamma according to Dhamma, that is being able to understand the dependent origination and Four Noble Truths, whatever Buddha has given guidance on, it's well understood by this person, and that is following those teachings. That person has the capacity to follow the teachings and understand it. So that's the qualities of a stream enterer. And once you have entered the stream, and it says that you only get born 7 more times. There is no 8th birth because it only goes one way. It's a one-way street from after entering the stream. There's no turning back. It only heads towards Nibbana. And in other words, because there is less, of course, there may be mistakes, I'm sure, made by them, but we know, that person knows that once the person has entered the stream, that the mind is very much in tune with Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha, Buddha and the Buddha's teachings. That unshakable faith will take this person a maximum of 7 births before reaching Nibbana. And that's how Buddha has explained this journey. So there will be less messing around when a person has entered the stream. And then it goes to say that, of course, the stream enterer overcomes the Sakkaya Ditthi, Vicikiccha and Silabbata Paramasa in that stanza. So the 3 fetters are eradicated by the one who has entered the stream. And then also it says that one who has entered the stream, from that point, whenever, it's not that the person doesn't make any mistakes, but if there is anything that the person has done wrong, that person will be, it, the person cannot conceal it from oneself. It's not that we have to tell the whole world I made the mistake. No, the person who has made the mistake cannot conceal it from oneself, because there is this feeling of hiriotapa and feeling that this is not the right thing to do, and be honest to oneself and try to make amends and not to repeat the same mistake. So that's the quality when the person has entered the stream, be able to correct oneself, because we have this reflective and contemplative capacity. And I think from that's the last of the qualities of the sangha, that is the ones who have the noble sangha. And then it goes to say that Buddha is compared to a grove, and a blossoming grove, and then the blossoms that come in this grove are the people who follow the teachings, and they blossom. The blossoms are in this grove. There are blossoms because the people who have followed these teachings are seen. They're blossoming. And in the end, it goes in the Ratana Sutta. Well, apparently Sakka heard this sutta, and he came down, and he asked everybody to venerate Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha by adding 3 verses. That's how the sutta ends, venerating the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. That was said by the Sakka according to the scriptures. So it kind of has a beautiful story how we can take refuge in Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. How we can use it in daily life. The whole idea is taking refuge in Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha, and how we can bring it to how we can make these teachings alive in oneself on a day-to-day basis. Because the whole idea is about mind training. I mean, that's what we are all here, how to train the mind. And we have, it's having that mindfulness. We need mindfulness even to cross the road. Cut a carrot, but having sati sampajana, the kind of mindfulness that bring the attention inwards to the mind, being able to see the mind, to the kind of attention that bring reflect what's going on in the mind. And mind has great capacity. Mind is supposed to be luminous. This is what Buddha said. It's the defilements, adventitious defilements enters the mind, and we lose that luminosity. So really, we can experience ourselves when these defiled states enter the mind. The ability of the mind is reduced when there are hindrances, and when there's this self-view and the hindrances, we lose the full capacity of the mind. And when they're not there, the mind is luminous, and that's what we need to work towards and experience. And then how trust and confidence in the Dhamma can grow because we've seen it for ourselves. Well, everything begins with sensual desire because we are constantly seeking happiness. It's not that there are sense pleasures that's available, but it's there are, well, music, eat food, things like these things. There is some pleasure in that, but it's to be able to see the impermanent nature of these sense pleasures, because we are seeking all these sense pleasures. We see it as it will bring us long-lasting happiness, but this is the distorted perception we have, because the feelings we have are we perceive with these. The perception gives a value to the feeling, and we see everything with a distorted perception. We can't see the true nature of dukkha. We see it as sukha. Everything will bring us sukha. That's how we see. The sukha sanya is very much we are accustomed to. We don't have the dukkha sanya. If we have understood the Four Noble Truths, and if we can understand the First Noble Truth, we know that nothing will bring us long-lasting happiness, and we are constantly looking outside, chasing something. It's like a blind man needs to be guided by another person with eyes for the blind person to go around. So we are also with these distorted perceptions. We are seeking pleasure externally. Something external will bring us pleasure. When we have it free of charge internally, like the Ratana Sutta, the Jewel Sutta explains, we have it free of charge internally, but we are not seeing it. We try to seek something externally to have this pleasure, long-lasting pleasure. When we have it within us internally, we are blind to it. The distorted perception, unfortunately, make us not see it. We don't have this dukkha sanya, we haven't understood the First Noble Truth yet. So it's like when it is like when we know something is hot, we hold it very lightly. We know it's hot, but we hold it very lightly. So it's to be able to see this, understand this basic intrinsic nature of this existence, having a body. I mean, we're all getting old, and getting old is not easy. The mind gets old, and it's not pleasant experiencing this aging body and mind. We all experience it, and so that itself is enough to have a sense of urgency, I think. For me, that's enough to have a sense of urgency. And we have plenty of opportunities for that in this community. I find it every day. The opportunities we have to see that dukkha in this human existence. And when I see that, if I take refuge in Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha, it's easy to handle it. And then the gratitude and the compassion and that kind of qualities can arise in the mind, because we can read about things, reading books and reading about Dhamma. We can intellectually understand these qualities, how compassion works, how gratitude works, how everything works. But unless we experience it, it's like we can learn, we can read how to ride a bike, but until you get on the bike and fall down and get up and balance the bike, we won't be able to ride the bike. So it's like that, having these experience in these situations, living in a big community like this with a variety of we are all very different ages, different nationalities, and seeing that it's when we experience in real life what happens to the human being, only those qualities can be, we can experience those qualities. It's like it can be inculcated, because looking at a screen, I mean, we can look at a screen and we have a connection with the screen, we see pictures, but it's very different. But if we experience it, real life experience, we watch movies on screen and we try to cry and have all kinds of emotions but when we meet a person who is undergoing this difficulty in real life, that's very different. With this aging process, it's extremely very, very different. The sickness, the old age, and death, of course, eventually. It's very different. We see it in front of our own eyes, the vulnerability and the real dukkha of this existence. And I find that very valuable, sometimes, maybe not always, but it has, it opens a different a channel in the mind. And I feel with the Buddha, Dhamma and the Sangha, taking refuge in Buddha, Dhamma and the Sangha, and with all the support we have in this community for the monks and the nuns, from the lay people and from the elders in the community. And it's with all that support, and if we can use it in a good way, it's a very good opportunity we all have. And hopefully the coming winter retreat we can, well, I won't be here, but winter retreat may be a good time to reflect on these aspects, and we will encounter it on a daily basis, living in the community, and how we can use it to our benefit and for our welfare and happiness. I'd like to end it here. Thank you for your attention.